Bahamas, people. We're trying to get to the Bahamas. These jackoffs are ramming every damn iceberg on the way from here to somewhere where we don't want to be. Okay, so I'd like to stick to talking about solutions and ideas as much as possible, just because, like you mentioned before, I feel like talking about problems and what's going on in the news is such a saturated thing. Tons of podcasts out there, tons of mainstream media talking about that kind of stuff. I'd like to stick to what we can do about it, and what hopefully one day I'll be doing about it. However, well, to me, you can't talk about solutions without having the problem defined, right? And to me, the problem is crystal clear. However, let's just make sure we're on the same page, or let me at least explain how I view the problem. I think the problem breaks down to two parts at its core. The first part, we're looking at the concentration of power. We, the people, are too freaking busy and don't have enough time to worry about whether or not we should build a road here and there, whether or not we should allow nuclear power plants to be here. So we have to grant that power to representatives. We don't have the time, we don't have the knowledge. These representatives, ideally, would represent us. It's kind of in their name, but not so much the case. So you now have fewer people, the concentration of power, making these decisions. And with those fewer people, it is much easier to corrupt. I might say something controversial here, but I argue that people, the vast majority of people, are inherently good. It's when you put individual people in a certain environment that they can become corrupt and things go downhill. You can't really corrupt the entirety of the world, right? For example, whenever you see these people in power, Trudeau, Biden, when they try to do something horrific, they have to justify it from a standpoint of good. Trudeau has to say that these truckers are Nazis. I watched the video with Andrew Schultz and Jordan Peterson, and Andrew mentioned how he took some Molly. We're predisposed to want to share any excess that we have. Again, pointing that I think we as people are inherently good and would look out for each other. So, part one of the problem, concentration of power. The second part, I believe it is the ignorance of politics of the majority of people. What did I put here? Yeah, collective ignorance of politics, which is kind of a given considering the system, is because we allow ourselves this ignorance of politics because we think, hey, I voted for Billy Bob over here. Billy Bob will educate himself and do this and that and decide what is best for us as a collective. So to some extent, we have an excuse for this ignorance. However, it's what enables this show that we got going on right now. So these guys get to run, and then that's where the lobbyists come in and do their thing. So again, that ties in with the concentration of power, right? It's all intertwined. When those lobbyists get a hold of these people, no, well, these people, they got to worry about re-election and this and that. Next thing you know, well, you know what? They're just, these lobbyists, they're looking out, they're doing the same argument as far as, oh, this is what's best for people. If we don't have nuclear power plants, it's safer. These windmills, they're the best. Listen, we'll pay for them. They take a bit of maintenance and this and that, but we can't have nuclear because it's scary. Have you seen that Netflix show, Chernobyl? Horrific. So sad. So terrible. Oh no, we don't want that. No, you want windmills. You want something that doesn't really freaking work. So lobbyists come in and take a stranglehold of these people. Difference between us, the people, and them, those who we elect, we have no incentive to pay attention to them other than the immediate backlash that if a stupid law gets passed and we're directly affected by it. But by the time that happens, it's too late. It's already way too far down the road. Whereas them, Their incentive is they get reelected, they get lobbyist money, they get this, they get that, if they do what the lobbyists want them to do. It's not so much us against the politicians as much as us against the lobbyists. Money, right? The root of all evil, right? So I'm not going to get too much into the solution, quote unquote, for this problem of concentrated power and our collective ignorance of what these people do. But in general, the solution to it is people getting directly involved with it. The politicians that we do elect, again, I talked about this in another video, the idea being that we vote for people. Why are we voting for people? The laws and such are what govern us. I don't care about the person. I care about the laws that are getting passed. So why? Let's get directly in on that. It's not a change that'll happen overnight. You can't go from voting for people to voting for ideas just overnight. It's going to be a process. But in the meantime, I believe if we secure some core elements of our freedoms, guns, speech, and voting, those three will pave the way to getting rid of this concentration of power and getting people more involved. There's a saying of, if you're on a boat, let's say you're on a cruise ship, would you rather have a captain steering and commandeering the ship, or would you rather steer and commandeer the ship via popular vote? I don't know if you've ever been on a cruise ship to like the Bahamas or something. You wouldn't want somebody like me in my 20s drunk and blackout drunk the whole time saying, yeah, we should go east 40 knots. Yeah. No, you want the captain doing this. And that is the situation we have right now. However, the problem is we all got on this cruise ship. We're saying, hey, let's go to the Bahamas. Captain's like, aye, let's do this. We start going to the Bahamas, but then some rich jackoffs are like, hey, you know what? I'd rather go to Antarctica. Let's go to Antarctica. Slips them a few bills. Next thing you know, we're going north. Everybody's looking like, hey, what's going on? It's getting a little chilly. And then we fucking hit an iceberg, and there's this crazy bitch on a door for some reason. That's where we're at right now with this nonsense. The border's crazy open. We got wars going out the wazoo. We still don't have healthcare, like proper healthcare. It's just so stupid. Every single election, it's a question whether or not there's fraud. How? Why are we going to the Antarctic? You Bahamas people. We're trying to get to the Bahamas. These jackoffs are ramming every damn iceberg on the way from here to somewhere where we don't want to be. Concentration of power and our collective ignorance is the core of the problem of what landed us on this fucking iceberg. It's a big problem to solve because it requires all of us to get much more involved in politics. However, there is a way. I know there is. Technology will bridge this gap. It will make it happen. So I hope in my ranting here, it made some sense and there's some kind of conclusion. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.